Uh, this is why one of the reasons I'm really fascinated with, because I don't know if you noticed, but I do a lot of, besides leadership, I do strategy advisement, and I use computer war games. I bring executives in, and they war game one another, and they actually see each other under pressure. But one of the things I've noticed is, for my work to be successful, I require a chief executive who's going to walk the walk and talk the talk and keep his people's feet to the fire. We have these templates, we're going to use them. And that to me, that seems like that might be a challenge with the strategic narrative, because I can see the value in it. The CEO may love it, but the COO, the CFO, sales, marketing, they all have to have buy-in, and they have to consistently do it. Do you find that to be, I guess this is probably a rhetorical question, but is that a challenge for you?
You're hitting on what I'd say, like, if I've gotten better at this work at all, it's been by learning how to better balance the two things you're talking about, which is CEO ownership, authorship, really, of this story, um, and the team buy-in. Uh, and so in my process, I've kind of I'm always changing it a little bit based on things I learned, but I'm really trying to balance those two things. So I'll usually start with a kickoff session with all of them. So the CEO, and then head of sales, head of marketing, head of product. Sometimes it's like a co-founder or COO kind of person who's like really, sort of each organization is a little different on like who. I'm kind of trying to balance like who has the inputs to the story, like, just literally like understands the market and what this company is trying to do, and who are the people who are just super critical to own it and champion it going forward, to smell their own scent on it, not reject it as foreign tissue. And and then I start with a big kickoff session where I'm training the teams and the CEO together on the structure that I'm talking about, on all the different pieces that make it work. But most of it is asking the team, like, what are these pieces? Um, and you can imagine we come out with like boards and boards of notes and ideas about what this thing should be, right? And so then I do two things. One is I ask them to start talking to customers and asking them some similar questions, because sometimes the customer will say it in a way that we never thought to say it. And sometimes it's like it's duh, like we just didn't like. I'll give you one team I worked with. We were trying to come up with this word for like what every sort of like consumer product company wants to be, and somehow when we interviewed one of them that was a client of this company, the CEO said, yeah, we want to be a household brand. And somehow this phrase household brand didn't come to us. It's like, it's not rocket science, but somehow we didn't think of it. And then we started using that, and like, yeah, oh yeah, that's what I want to, it just really really resonated. But then I'm also working with the CEO one-on-one to start boiling down what we've gotten from the team and from the customers into the first draft of this narrative. And then I have them present that to this small team of people, like you said, who we need to have their buy-in. And I ask them two questions: what's working and not working? And I always tell the CEOs, heads up, like, this is going to be the worst part of our work together. Like, this is going to be the low point, because you can imagine, like all the reports have given the CEO like their gold ideas for what this story should be, and now the CEO has pretty much had to throw out most of them, maybe 98%, to get to something clean. Good news is the team, I find, is always right about what's working and not working, like the general direction this thing has to go to get better. And so the CEO and I go back to the drawing board and rebuild it and come back to them. And I found so keep doing kind of stuff like this, and gradually, we're building alignment among the team. They're getting their input. The CEO is getting to make decisions. That's how I found so far the best way to balance those two things.